I have been alerted to a fun fact. There are 2 honey badgers in Phantom Forces. To those of you who are very familiar with the game, that statement probably makes you want to tear me limb from limb. And today we're going to talk about how this weapon right here, a longtime fan favorite in this game, actually has another weapon that is nearly identical to it, thanks to a fairly new conversion that I only just recently even noticed was in the game. So join me today because I want to compare these 2 weapons to each other and find out if we actually have, in fact, 2 honey badgers in Phantom Forces, and we're going to find out which one of the 2 is better. If you end up enjoying the video, definitely consider subscribing. We are getting super close to 200,000 subs, and if we can, I would very much like to do that by the end of the year. All right, cool. Video time. So as you saw by the thumbnail and the title and everything of the video, the weapon that we're going to be talking about today is going to be the K7 with a conversion, and of course that is going to be the 5.56 conversion requiring 1,500 kills. And we're going to be comparing that directly to, like I said, the honey badger, the OG integral suppressed carbine. Now I will say, I know that the honey badger does not fire 5.56, it fires technically 300 blackout, right? But I mean, they're similar enough, not only in profile, but in concept of integral suppressed smaller weapon that fires a rifle round to where it's pretty much a fair comparison, especially when we get into the stats here. So before I bombard you with a crap ton of information that might not mean anything to a lot of people, I'm going to actually show you how these weapons work. So first of all, I am going to start with the honey badger because of course that is going to be the baseline that we're going to talk about here. So of course we have 33 damage out to 65 studs and 22 damage out to 105 studs. Pretty standard multipliers of 1.4 headshot multiplier and 1.0 torso, 30 round magazine, and 800 fire rate. By the way, this comparison is going to be done with otherwise stock attachments other than a red dot sight, specifically the coyote sight, and that's just going to be for ease of use. Now the honey badger is a weapon that has been in Phantom Forces, as far as I remember at least, having been in the game as long as I've been playing, right? And considering that I've been playing since about 2016, yeah, this thing is pretty freaking old. And if you haven't been playing for a super long time, this thing used to be like the #1 meta weapon, the overused, nightmarish thing that people were just so sick of dealing with. But the thing is, these days, a lot of other weapons that are in the carbine category are pretty much just going to be better than this. And it could be in a lot of ways, from recoil to fire rate to just damage. And as sad as it is, it kind of has left this old relic of Phantom Forces a little bit in the dust. Though, I think a lot of people do still enjoy this weapon. It's not necessarily bad. There's just other options that are generally better than it. I just shot at a corpse. And for me, I personally have over 2,000 kills on my honey badger. But if we go to directly compare that to the K7 with 5.56, you can see that our damage figures are looking a little bit similar, actually. 33 damage out to 70 studs, 21 damage out to 140 studs, standard 1.4 and 1.0 multipliers, 30 round ammo capacity, 850 fire rate, so a little bit faster of a fire rate, plus we get a 3 round burst mode, which really, who's going to use? Now, the K7 has been a favorite of mine for a very long time, not only in Phantom Forces, which I have made actually a couple videos in the past on it as well, but also where kind of originally I learned about it was Call of Duty Ghosts, which it was a huge favorite of mine back in the day on that game. So naturally, whenever I see that it was getting out of the Phantom Forces, I was very excited. Though a little bit more recently, it got a 5.56 conversion, which to me is kind of weird because we already have a weapon called the K1A, which is effectively the K7, but with 5.56 already. So why we needed this, I don't really know. But while we have it in the game, it is effectively, in a lot of ways, basically identical to the honey badger, and kind of sparing the repetitive gameplay because effectively the damage and stuff is exactly the same. Which of the 2 is better? Now I'm going to really quick bombard you with a bunch of stats up on screen right now with a little bit of gameplay in the background just to kind of give a bit of a comparison. The K7 has 33 damage out to 70 studs and 21 damage out to 140 studs, compared to the honey badger's 33 damage out to 65 studs and 22 damage out to 105. The K7 has a 30 round magazine, as does the honey badger. The K7 has 850 fire rate compared to the honey badger's 800. The K7 has 1 stud penetration, while the honey badger has 1.3 stud penetration. Muzzle velocity on the K7 is 2200 compared to the 2000 on the honey badger. The main difference though between the 2 is going to be in the reload speed, which has a 2.1 second non-empty reload and a 3.2 second empty reload, compared to the much faster honey badger reload of 1.7 seconds on a non-empty magazine and a whole second faster than the K7 on an empty reload with 2.2 seconds, making for an overall time to kill on the K7 of 0.14 and a time to kill on the honey badger of 0.15. So under 100% ideal conditions, technically the K7 can actually kill faster. But there are also some differences in terms of recoil. The K7 has the layered recoil system, which makes it look much more jittery and jumpy, whereas the Honey Badger does not, and it just has a little bit more of that classic Phantom Forces recoil. It's kind of one of those things that you have to feel. You can't really just look at a video and tell. Essentially, if you know, you know. But it just makes me wonder between the two, because they're both so nearly identical together that is one actually going to be better than the other? Is one easier to use? Is one overall just more fun? And for my opinion, I would say that the K7 up to this point might be better than the Honey Badger. But hold on, don't rip my head off just yet. I know you want to. I know you're craving to rip my head off. But let me elaborate a little bit more, because long term, the Honey Badger might actually end up being the better of the two. The main reason that I picked the K7 with 556 over the Honey Badger is going to be that increased fire rate of 50 more. Fire rate, I guess, 850 compared to the Honey Badger's 800. However, there are a few things that make the Honey Badger actually better than the K7 as well. And that is going to be the fact that with the Honey Badger, we actually can get different barrel attachments, unlike the K7, where you are completely stuck with no barrel attachments. It did actually used to have a compensator and muzzle brake. I don't quite know why they took that away, but it would effectively go on the end of the suppressor, weirdly enough. But with the Honey Badger, we can actually pick different barrel attachments, so we can optimize our recoil a little bit better. If we want, we can have an extended long barrel suppressor, which is kind of funny, or we can just have remove suppressor or any number of other suppressors that we could potentially have to tweak things like fire rate, goofy factor, of course, naturally, and we can even get a faster fire rate than the K7 with putting muzzle booster on the Honey Badger, giving us 864 fire rate. Now, of course, recoil is not going to be the most amazing, but it's also not the worst either. And one of the biggest differences is going to be in ammo types, because with the K7, while you do have a little bit more variety when it comes to ammo types, giving us plus P, which the Honey Badger doesn't have, if we're going to compare it directly with 556 to the Honey Badger, that's it. It's just, this is your ammo, you get 556. But with the Honey Badger, you get to use these ammo types plus the default 300 blackout ammo. So we could do things like increase our CQC damage with hollow point, or give us a torso multiplier with armor piercing. Whereas on the K7, you don't get that option. And now between the K7 and the Honey Badger, with muzzle booster, we get identical time to kill as well. So with the Honey Badger, we can get identical time to kill. We can have the variety of barrel attachments. We can have the opportunity to have different ammo types, combined with the already good damage that's on it. And even with just the muzzle booster and no other attachments other than a sight, recoil is extremely manageable, making the Honey Badger actually a lot more versatile, and to me, a lot more fun. And my goodness gracious, bro, I like this weapon a lot. I really do. It's a lot of fun. It's good. Yeah, I don't want to stop using this. It's actually so much fun. So of course you could do stuff too, like actually build setups between the two, find out which one has like better recoil and stuff. And obviously you could do that with pretty much any weapon and just say, well, this one's got better recoil, this one's got better damage. It's clearly just better. But these are just so similar that I don't think really a setup is going to, or like any setup is going to make one truly entirely better than the other. However, at the end of the day, I'm going to say that the Honey Badger is better than the K7 with 556. While they're both fantastic weapons, they both have pretty much identical stats, just with a tiny little bit of change here and there. The Honey Badger has more options for customization. It's a lower level unlocked by what, like 25 levels or something? Like 60, yeah, 62 compared to 84. It's like, yeah, it's like 22 levels lower. Also for the fact that the 556 conversion, you have to grind 1500 kills for or pre-buy it. And the Honey Badger, you get those stats just by default when you get the weapon. Also, the reload time on empty being a whole second faster doesn't sound like a crazy amount, but in a game as twitchy and fast-paced as this, every single second counts. And honestly, I mean, it's a Honey Badger, dude. And also, much like the K7, was one of my favorites in Call of Duty Ghosts, if not my favorite weapon. And of course, hopefully one day we will see a remodel of the Honey Badger to make it even nicer looking. So once again, this classic weapon reigns supreme in Phantom Forces. But with that said, what do you guys think is the better of the two? The Honey Badger or the K7 with 556? If you guys do want to see more comparisons videos like this, definitely let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you never miss an upload again. It's free. And hey, if you ever get extremely sick of my voice, you can always unsubscribe later. But with that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I appreciate it. Big shout out to all the channel members up on screen. Without you guys, it would be infinitely more difficult to make videos just like this possible. And if you guys want to as well, you can become a channel member with the link in the description below or with the join button on my channel. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, you can do so with the Phantom Forces playlist that'll be up on screen right now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Love you guys so much. See you in the next video. Love you. Peace.